I can't have a trial, a major trial for every person that came in illegally. We have thousands of murderers that came in. They're going to murder people. They already have murdered people in our country.
Right, so
we have to get them out, and we have to get them out fast.
Really bad guys, but in our country, even bad guys get due process, right?
If people come into our country illegally, there's a different standard. These are illegal. They came in illegally.
But they get due process.
Well, they get a process where we have to get them out. Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the Venezuelans.
They get whatever my lawyers say. Those tattoos.
Oh, he had some tattoos that are interpreted that way. But let's move on.
Wait a minute. Hey, Terry.
He did not have the letter MS13.
It says MS13.
Yeah, that was photoshopped. So let me
That was photoshopped. Terry, you can't do that.
So back at the beginning of the year, the Trump administration started their mass deportations. One of the people that they decided to include in these mass deportations, after saying that they were only exclusively going to go after criminals, was a man with no criminal history who lived in Maryland and was from El Salvador originally. He moved from El Salvador to the U.S. to avoid gang fighting, and because of that, he was considered a refugee. And we have different rules for refugees than we do just regular immigrants who are undocumented. Basically, he's not an undocumented immigrant, even though that's what they said they would first go after. Even though they said they would first go after criminals, they went after a person who was both here legally and non-criminal. And they deported him to El Salvador. After deporting him to El Salvador, there was this huge media backlash over it. And so during a meeting between the president of El Salvador and Donald Trump, they sort of joked back and forth about how actually neither of us can do anything about it. There's nothing we can do about it. It's already done. What, you think a guy like me can undo something like that? Yeah, right. And so because of that, he stayed in El Salvador a little longer than people would have liked. And a senator actually went and had a talk with him to check in on him, because there were a lot of people who was convinced that he was sent there and executed immediately. So I'm pretty sure the guy's name is Van Hoyten. I can't really remember exactly, but I'm pretty sure it's Van Hoyten. And he goes to El Salvador, and the government during this interview places these glasses with cherries in them. And afterwards, they take photos of the senator, I believe, with Kilmar Abrego Garcia. And they take a photo of him with these drinks and say that they're margaritas, and basically imply that Abrego Garcia, he's here in a sort of a paradise situation. It's like El Salvador, the jungle paradise country, and which is just it's the most disgusting kind of fascist propaganda. Well, he eventually got sent back. He got sent back to the U.S. and he was held in confinement for a little bit. DHS basically tells him, if you want, you can... Well, okay, so the first thing that happens is he's charged for human trafficking because he was carrying employees, workers, construction workers, across state lines in his van, and he was pulled over for it. There were no charges filed at the time, but now that he's back in the country, they decided to put these trafficking charges on him. Well, the trafficking charges don't stick, but at the same time, they're saying, well, if you plead guilty to the trafficking charges, then we will deport you to Costa Rica. If you don't accept these charges, we'll deport you to Uganda. And so he refused to do that. He was freed. He went all the way to Maryland to see his family and all that stuff. He goes back to the court for a legally mandated check-in, and they detain him again. And now their goal is to send him to Uganda, a country he's never been in, a country he has no connections to, as a punishment for not accepting the charge that would have validated the government's reasons for attacking him and would have bolstered their propaganda. And now, because he's failing to do that, he's become a target of the state. And I can't get into the article because it's paywalled, but the quote is right at the top here. It's a Trump official telling Rolling Stone, "We are not going to stop coming after him." And so this is like the most like bald-facedly evil thing that the administration has done yet so far, is take a random private person who is sure an immigrant to this country and may not be a legal citizen, but is a private person living his own life, not breaking laws, and creating sort of like a lynching case out of him, where they create like a fictionalized story of his life. And I mean, even DHS and them, they released this photo of the tattoos on his knuckles and then type in letters implying that the marijuana stood for an M, the skull stood for a S, the cross stood for a 1, and a smiley face stood for fucking 3 or something like that. And they're saying that this means MS-13 when it's clearly smoke weed till I die and love God. Like, it's like a very basic like fucking like Latino thing to get like knuckle tattoos. My dad has knuckle tattoos, and they don't mean gang shit. When you have gang tattoos, it's like it'll say MS-13. It'll be a fucking 6-pointed star with letters on every single end of it. They're not hiding the fact that they're in a gang with a gang tattoo. Those are meant to identify gang members. And because gang members are outside of the justice system, they don't really give a shit that the justice system recognizes these tattoos, so they're not doing secret tattoos. And Donald Trump is so fucking old and stupid or evil that he took this photo with this typing on it and said that it was part of the tattoo. He said to a guy interviewing him on television that this MS-13 typed above the fucking tattoo part was real, and that the Photoshop, it wasn't really Photoshopped. And like, I believe that Donald Trump is old enough to see something like that and think it's real, but I also know that he's like a piece of shit, and these people are literally just trying to tear apart this guy's life for political points. Kilmar Abrego Garcia is innocent, and he has always been innocent. And the whole narrative against him is created by racists who want to get rid of Latino people.